Good morning, goeiemorgen, and to the Capetonians away. So what do you guys say about the rugby this weekend? Sadly, the Springboks decided not to lose and ended up with a tie at the end of the day. But we're not here to talk rugby this morning, so it's just my inset for a bit of comical relief there. Guys, good morning. My name is Viljoen and I'm from Welcome Bay in Tauranga, all the way in the North Island. And I'm a financial, I must stop doing that. I'm a financial advisor, not an immigration advisor. So when I give some advice here, it's all about finances and not immigration. You are allowed to ask some immigration questions. We've got Vanita Herbens on the site as well. From time to time she comes live with me and she gives those answers readily to anybody. As you can see at the back, proudly displaying this morning the 16-16, the other team that played there, although they could have done a bit better. I know the South Africans have told everybody that we crooked them a bit in the end, but that wasn't so. I've looked at everything and it was a very fair match. So, guys, this morning I want to tell you about the successes in the job market the last, I would say, 3 weeks. Last week we were not here. I just had to greet Sean. Away, Sean. I see even my own kids are listening to me this morning. It's the only time I get to talk to them and they listen. So, job market successes the last 3 weeks, and one that was about 4 months ago that I spoke to last night. Last night I went to see a client and it was her birthday, believe it or not, when I walked in there, and it's today still her birthday. And she's a bit jet lagged still, so Ellen Ed Stolz, happy birthday in South Africa, and yesterday was your birthday in New Zealand, so there's one chance in your life that you'll have 2 birthdays every year. So alright, let's get back to her husband. Actually arrived in New Zealand about 4 months ago, and he was struggling to get an interview. The interviews that he had, the person who did the interviews with him resigned just before he arrived here, so he was a bit stuck out there. And he said one day he just took his CV and decided, let's go for a walk. Took his CV, and the second place that he came to listened to them and or listen to him, and they actually offered him a job, and it was within 1 day he was sorted out, got a job as a fitter and turner, and he's down there 4 months down the line and is busy getting his residence now. On the other side, I have with me living a young man called Jack. He struggled a bit, and eventually we reached out to people that we know in the industry, and somebody said, try this, and he tried that, and he received a job offer about 2.5 weeks ago. He's busy with his visas at current. So, and then I met up with a guy called Viljoen this week past. He actually is in the mining industry, and he drove past a place where they were busy drilling. Not mining type of drill, but drilling massive holes in the earth. And as he was speaking to them, they said, come around, go to the office. Went to the office, received a job offer the next day. Sadly, that job offer wasn't good enough for him to bring his family on as well. It would only result in a 1-year visa. And that is where Vanita Herbens came in with her immigration advice to him. And she actually, I think if I actually said to him, oh, well, it's not a bad offer. It wasn't a bad offer in my eyes, but she just knew better than me. So at the end of the day, she came in and said, it won't work. It's too risky. It won't give her he can't bring his wife and kids on that visa as well. So that's a good call for her. Helped him probably a lot there. On the other side, what I see a lot of people do, and I think it's probably a good thing, is coming around. Come visit New Zealand, stop here, come for 3-4 weeks of holiday and start walking around. Take your CV to the relevant places that there are. Walk in and say, guys, I am here. It's easier to say no to you if you receive an email than to say no to somebody if you see them face to face. Big difference there. Something else that somebody did was to to get all the accredited employers that's not advertising, to send his CV to that people. And he received basically 2 job offers and had the choice within 3 days after arriving in New Zealand. So he's actually started working in Auckland now. I want to see this morning, is there any questions that burning questions that I can help anybody with? To give you an idea, last week we didn't have a Facebook Live because I was trying to go get some skiing experience in. It was quite an experience, to be quite frank. I nearly did the same that the Springboks did, but ice or snow, when it turns to ice, is extremely slippery. Extremely slippery. You just have no way or anywhere to go. And I tried this whole thing about how to stop, and it just didn't work for me. I was nearly down into the rocks there. So yeah, 40 minutes down after trying to do some skiing, I stopped. I think it was a good call at that stage. Next time I'll go, or next year, let me postpone this for a year. Next year I will go and I will get myself a ski instructor to see if that's probably the one way that we can do some skiing there. But let's see, is there nobody with any questions? One other thing that I saw, panel beaters, there's a bit of a shortage on them now. Quite a large shortage. It takes about 2 months just to get your vehicle done. The wife had a little fender bender, and that 2 months down the line, the car only went in yesterday. Another occupation that I saw is also on the wanted list is beauticians. Why I don't know. Why beauticians would be on the shortage list and why New Zealand can't produce their own, but I see beauticians is on the shortage list as well. So that's probably to the other side or the other spectrum of jobs that I haven't really looked at. So keep in mind, if you know about anybody in that, then you can have a chat to them and say to them if they must have a look on the skill shortage list for that. Let me see, what's the likelihood of getting a job at a university in New Zealand? You just got to apply. I see lots advertised for skilled workers, but not many for academic careers. And there's a few people who've come over and is giving class, so there must be some shortage there. I know there's a shortage in teachers, and teachers is probably all over as well. Sarika says she's seen the lovely pics of the snow. The snow is extremely cold. Chantal Houses, hubby is here for 4 weeks now. Farming is big in New Zealand. It's probably one of the biggest industries here, so I hope he's happy there, Chantal. Felix Fourie says something that is the absolute truth. He says the window of opportunity is closing fast. And we see this every day. They become way more stricter on everything. They are really trying to close that gate for everybody coming in. And I do understand why. But in the long run, if you can come, I think you should not wait that long. Sean Langer says, he's got a question. Can I apply for work if I'm still waiting for my unabridged certificate as well as my police clearance? I can't see why you can't do that. Just get that done. It's quite, the police clearances these days, I see it's about 7 weeks now that they take. Somewhere along the line, police has decided to work a bit slower. And then the unabridged certificates, that's probably the biggest hiccup you will have. Remember, you can come without your unabridged marriage certificate. Just keep that in mind. Carla Smith asked, would I be able to get a work to residency visa if I have an international diploma in beauty? Carla, I don't know. I've never had anything done with beauty, as you can see. I mean, there's no help for this way. So, but I think Vanita can probably answer this for us. I'll ask her a bit later just to have a look. I don't know if Vanita is yet this morning. So, any DBA post you know of right now in Bay of Plenty? I don't know what DBA is. I've got a few wild guesses, but I'm not allowed to say that on Facebook, so for fear of being banned. So, beautician posts, even the smaller little towns have got beautician posts, and somebody I spoke to is on one of the smaller towns, and they received a beautician position there, and all of them came over on the ladies' credentials. So what the credentials is directly, I don't know. So Except for Trade Me, is there any other websites like that to assist into getting rental houses? No. Viljoen Trade Me is probably the best one to do. Even if you go onto the estate agents' websites themselves, where they do advertise houses as well. If you go onto there, and even if you call them, they will say to you, no, go onto Trade Me and apply through that. It's got a way to apply through Trade Me. You can set up a CV for yourself on Trade Me, and then you apply with that type of CV for all the houses. It's just an easier way to do it, and I think they prefer it that way so that they can get mass people to look at houses. So, watching from Cape Town, Ian Smith. Good morning, Cape Town. Just come back from 3 weeks to Auckland, stunning country. Battle to get an interview, and there you go, past. Seek is very good. I apply daily on there. Yeah, Seek is one of the big ones here for visas. Applied for both in January, still waiting. That's Sean Langer. Yeah, probably the police clearance. Yeah, sadly, yeah. Is there any post on optic fiber telecommunications? Jackie or Tracy O'Neill asked that. Tracy, I've spoken to somebody who's into that field as well, and he struggled to get a job there. So he has fallen back on his what is a stock perking, not a wooden horse. On what he did in his part time, and that was building cabinets, and he's a cabinet maker here. So if there's a post on fiber optics, he'll probably want to move into that as well. But he cannot get a job currently in that. Chantal Hauser says he is looking for work in farming or animal feed industry. Slow to no responses from employment agents. Can anybody recommend on this site? There is a site for farm workers. I think it's Farm Post or Fence Post, something like that. And there's an exclusive website where they advertise farm jobs out there. Farming in New Zealand is, as I said, quite a big industry. They've got big into the milk, and big into the sheep and so all the nice stuff that we eat. So I heard a rumor there is SAFA struggling to get work, especially people that are lined up interview, still no jobs. I can't believe it. That's from Felix. Felix, there is always people struggling to find work. People come over with massive expectations of wanting to become a manager, and that type of things. I see this on a daily basis. People only want to become a manager, and the problem is here, although there were managers in New Zealand, or in South Africa, nobody in New Zealand has ever heard of them. Nobody's ever heard of them. So they come here and they expect to become a manager, and they want to manage people who's never even heard of them. So they've got no track record. And I'm not saying New Zealand experience, please. That is also a bit of a rumor. They've got no track record. So start down at the bottom or stay below manager, manage that position well, and then apply for manager once you've built up a bit of credentials in this country. That's probably the one easier way to become a manager here. Some people have become managers, let me be on that side as well, but not everybody. Can you clarify the New Zealand CV requirement? Do we need to pay somebody to know? You do not need to pay somebody to put your New Zealand CV requirement. We have got a CV on here under files. Under files, have a look at that CV there and just do yours in that thing and go around and change every CV, every job application you do, change your CV to fit that job application like a glove. Don't send out CVs just because somebody has done it and told you this is the New Zealand format and so on. Michelle Cornelius, good morning. Are artisans, bricklayers and paving especially big or in demand? That's from Faisal Davids. Faisal, I don't really know how big the demand is, but people working with these two things, their hands, are always in demand here. So any jobs for training professionals? Actually, somebody arrived just yesterday and he's going to be training other people. So if you would call him a training professional, I don't know, but his job is to train other people. So he has received a job offer in that field. Doc asking, Jan, any experience with the IQ test or Wonderlic exams that some companies insist on? Did a couple and did a good job, but no jobs because of that. I don't know about any IQ tests that companies do insist on. So probably that's just an internal thing between companies. I know in South Africa, Sanlam had and similar, like what they call, I think it's aptitude test or something that you had to write before the time. I actually failed the thing one year. Do you know anything about water and wastewater industry? This is from Paul Pretorius. Paul, I do know a bit about that. If you're looking at the job offer in that field, I think you should send me a private message. Tasha Hampson says, have to start at the bottom to grow. Guys, you don't need to start down at the bottom to start sweeping the floors of the fabric or the workplace. It could be that you are at the top and ask sometimes to sweep the floors of the workplace. It does happen. It's not an exclusive thing that only certain people must sweep the floors, but you can start somewhere in the middle. If you aim too high, you probably won't get it. But if you aim a bit lower and come in at a more junior position, then you can always later move on. The big thing is to get in. Just remember what I'm saying now. The big thing is to get in. I'm not saying get in so that you are struggling here, because people are giving up. There is people going back to South Africa because they are struggling here. And I think it's also people that that are really haven't prepared themselves 100% for the move over. So keep that in mind. Where you start is also important, but the fact that you need to start somewhere where everybody else can relate to you and then get back to you. In the end of the day, you can move up the ranks with this. That's quite important, because you can move up the ranks here quite easily and quickly as well. So, do I know what the market is like for the financial accountants? No, I think you have to do a bridging course as well there. I know on the attorneys you've got to do a bridging course, which is about a year. Natasha Hampson asks, is our pairing a big thing or not really? They do babysit here. I haven't seen any au pairs here. New Zealand is is a step lower than what the Americans live like. So if you think about, they've got au pairs and drivers and other things, nobody in New Zealand really has any of this. Perhaps they're in the North Shore, one or two people, but not the average person. But you do get babysitters, and they get paid about $20 an hour, $25 an hour. So, but you can't get a work visa on that. Do you perhaps know how the trucking jobs are there? Dylan, this is a good question. Let me quickly go around that as well. If you are a truck driver in South Africa, you probably will get a position in New Zealand. The big thing is to line up with an immigration advisor and find out if the position that they're offering you are more than a 1-year visa, because that's the other thing that these days are a bit big on. They give 1-year visas, not more anymore 3-year visas. So trucking is quite big here. They've got the log trucks, which transport the logs from the forest down to the harbors, where they export the logs. They don't do their own wood here. They send it to China, and then they buy the wood back from China. So yeah, trucking industry is quite big here. There's a lot of petrol companies as well that does a bit more dangerous trucking. So I do believe if you've got the right credentials in trucking in South Africa, you could get a good job this side as well. Do salaries generally vary depending on whether you work in the North or the South Island? I know that salaries vary if you work in Auckland or not, because Auckland's much more expensive. But I don't think that the two islands' salaries will differ that much between the two islands outside of Auckland. So no, I can't see that that's going to be a big thing. South Island, they tell me, is also very beautiful. I've got somebody down there currently that's working there. As soon as they've found their feet, I'll ask them one morning to get on the show with us and tell us what they love about the South Island. And they're in Queenstown, so quite a beautiful place there. And how is the need for beauticians and mechanics? Mechanics will always be a need for. New Zealand's a big diesel industry as well, so people come on a daily basis and find jobs in mechanics. Beauticians, as I said, it looks like that is a skill shortage list as well. So alignment technicians, that's the guys that work with the tires. That's Yolanda van Korf. I don't know about alignment technicians, but it's also something that work. I think Willie Krieger is replying to that. It says big demand, especially Bridgestone. That could be under the alignment technicians. I think if you're the right person for the job, you will get the job. Now, that's always the one way, is to present yourself as the right person. that is difficult for some people. Some people go out and they buy themselves a CV that somebody has charged them $700 for, and they think this is gold now, and they send it off to everybody else, and 100 jobs down the line, they've got no response or no real response, or a thing that says, sorry, wish you were here, if you got the right visa, we can employ you, blah, blah, blah. If you bring your CV in line with who you really are and change your CV for every job application, take time, really take time. Your cover letter is gold. That is the first thing they see. Change your cover letter to exactly display the needs that the company is having, and then get your CV in that same line. It gives you a much better chance than just sending out a blank CV or a generic CV that somebody who said they can't do CVs made for you. So if you are document ready and the job application says only New Zealand citizen, it has a right to work with companies, look at the CV. Why not try? Try, Natasha. Never give up. Never give up. Chefs still seem to be in demand, but most jobs require a work permit. All jobs require work permits. So assuming only way to really find a job is to fly over and do interviews. This from Liz Light. Liz, somebody has started off as a chef job now in Tauranga. He came over on a trip, took one of these little motorhomes down from Auckland all the way to the South Island, and when he reached Tauranga, which is 200 kilometers from Auckland, he had 2 job offers in his pocket. So, yep, I think chefs are in demand. So, when does the country start to get quieter regarding job openings closer to the end of the year? I would say probably December and January is probably 2 of the worst months to look for a job. I'm not saying you're not going to find a job. You could probably still find a job there. But a lot of people are taking their summer breaks then. And then the decisions makers could be lying on the beach and doesn't really want to listen to your story then. Just keep that in mind. And then at the December and January, New Zealand, especially the towns on the coast, becomes very busy. It's like crazy. So in Tauranga you can basically not find parking next to the beach those 2 months. Do you know if there are any solar industries in New Zealand? That comes from my own kit. Woody, bel my. I'll speak to you later. Now, solar industries is starting to pick up now. They had this big thing that they wanted to close down the windmill, the wind farming, those big windmills. They say they aesthetically look bad against the countryside, but I see now they have given a permit to put up another 100 of those wind farms. So the wind farm thing is there. If I look outside the window, it's not raining this morning, but we had quite a lot of rain, and last night it became quite cold. So it suddenly just hit us, became very cold last night, dropped from 14 degrees down to about 6 in a question of 10 minutes or so. Yeah, that is New Zealand. If the cold front comes over, it really comes over quickly. Payroll information and communication technology, that's from Marika. Over 20 countries, legislation experience. What is the complication around Holiday Act? What is the complication around Holiday Act? I don't know. No, they've bowled me out. It's like the All Blacks needed it last try, but they didn't get it. So that... I don't know what the Holiday Act is there. Sorry about that. Do you have any media newspaper companies like Naspers or Media 24 in New Zealand? There's quite a few media companies as well. They sell radio ads. There's a few newspapers here as well. Very much does the same as Media 24. Then we've got quite a lot of radio or television stations here, all free stations. You do not need something like Mnet or so. You can get Sky TV for the sport, but most of some of the Mnet stations that you guys pay for is for free in New Zealand. So they've got about a heck of a lot of, I haven't never counted this, but they've got a heck of a lot of different radio or television stations, and every area has got its own localized radio station. So guys, any other questions there? We've got about 5 minutes left. From my side, what I do for South Africans once they arrive here, I love to have a quick coffee with them and just shake the hand and say welcome, because coming to New Zealand is one of the most testing times. It's one of the most stressful times you'll ever go through. It's like losing a loved one and moving house on the same day. That's basically what they describe, moving from one country to the other to live there permanently. What I do for South Africans, and once they've arrived here, I help them with all their financial needs. I help them with their financial immigration. I help them move money from South Africa to New Zealand. We've got a company in South Africa, and we are hopefully going to have them in about 2 weeks' time on with me live here and explain all the other nitty-gritty stuff about moving money, the financials, and so on. I also help South Africans move their insurance to New Zealand. We give them new insurance in New Zealand, give them cheaper insurance. Insurance actually is cheaper here because we don't have the crime factor to pardon into the payout. So, quick question there from Fritz Fourie. Line mechanic work. Line mechanic work. Mechanics is in demand here as well. I don't know exactly what a line mechanic does, so Marika says, seems to be the reason why it's hard to employ in that industry from outside New Zealand. Yep. John Potgieter says, have a good week. We hopefully will chat soon. Guys, if you come to New Zealand and we have at any stage made it a difference to your life, please let us know. We would love to know about that. So, all right, Fritz says his question about line mechanic work is power line work. There's a lot of power lines running all over this country, so I would believe that there would be something in there. I spoke actually to somebody the other day. What they do is they test the durability or the longevity of power lines in New Zealand. So they drive to a specific time or specific place, and then they test those cables, overhead cables, and they see how long they will still last. I don't know you can do that, but that's what their job is. Jaden Cupido, so you deal with retirement annuities as well? Jaden, we do. We've got a South African company that deal with our retirement annuities. They bring it over on a financial immigration. They charge in the region of about 9,500 rand, not dollars, rand, to do the whole financial immigration for a whole family. So keep that in mind. Once you are ready to, once you are ready here, then you can move all your stuff over and get it out here. Remember, somewhere along the line, SARS is going to take their last cents out of that as well. So, but sorry about that. Nothing I can do about that, but yep, on the SARS side there, they will take something. Chantal Hauser says, job hunting is stressful. Nice to know we have a friendly face in Shelley, New Zealand. Yeah, come and have a coffee, please. And job hunting is stressful. I've done the same stress with Jacques that's living with me now to help him on the job hunting side, and I saw it take off. Yep, he even started smoking again, but it looks like he'll be stopping now soon with the price of cigarettes. Oh, by the way, the price of cigarettes in New Zealand is $34. That's 340 rand a packet of 20. Alright. Marika Grimbeck said we'll be visiting in 2 weeks. Marika, come for coffee in Tauranga. If you are here, anybody else that is in Tauranga or pass through Tauranga, stop, come for coffee. It's always nice to meet South Africans. I do speak Afrikaans, soos julle kan hoor, ek kan Afrikaans ook praat, so. I haven't lost that yet, so I probably will never lose my Afrikaans as well, but yeah, for the show we talk English, so it'll make a huge difference to my family life if we're able to get to New Zealand. Will not give up. Natasha, once you are in New Zealand, you will understand what you have been missing all these years. My biggest regret is that I haven't done this 20 years ago. And to more and more people I speak to, their biggest regrets is that they haven't taken their families out earlier, out of South Africa. That situation there is really toxic, and it influences your whole psyche, your whole brain, and the way that people go around with each other and the stuff that's happening there. We're not blind this side, but we do not want to know about that anymore. So, guys, as always, this time of the morning, I've got to say, love you, leave you. And if you are ever in Tauranga, come for a coffee. If you need any financial advice, give me a call. Shout out, what's up, or on private message. Good luck to those still out there looking for a job. And the one big thing is, you got to hang in there. You're not allowed to give up. Think more than yourself. Think about the wife, the kids. You're doing it for them. You're doing it for them. Just don't give up. All right, guys, it's time for me to love you and leave you. And I'm off early morning. The sun is coming up, so it's becoming lighter earlier in the morning. And one morning we'll probably have a beautiful sunrise through my window that I can show you guys. And I know if you see that, you all would want to come and live in Tauranga. Thanks, eh? See you all. Thanks, eh? Bye-bye.